Welcome back to Sports Grill on HITZ 92 FM. Damien Gordon along with Earl the Bald Eagle Bailey. Thank you very much for being online at www.radiohits92fm.com/TV, and those following us on Twitter at Grill HITZ 92 FM, HITZ 92, and of course 285-4489 is our text line. And just to give you a couple of tweets, Janelle Robinson McP said, "So true, Glenn Mills. Nothing to be ashamed of if her conscience sets her free. So sad, tarnished reputation. Sad, stand behind the VCB." Robert Rashford said, "This whole VCB fiasco is unfortunate. Hope there is a speedy resolution." And of course, one of our new followers is Dalton Nemad. Thank you very much for joining us on Twitter. Of course, you can tweet your comments and we'll broadcast them live for you.
All right, Deaf Sports Jamaica has been complaining that since the inauguration of the World Deaf Games in 1923, Jamaica has never sent a single representative. Maybe the government has not been listening or not been hearing.
Not been seeing.
The group knows that the 22nd Deaflympics are slated to take place in Bulgaria between July 23 to August 4, and have appealed to the government for support to send athletes to the games. Joining us to discuss the issue is Public Relations Officer of the Deaf Sports Jamaica, Peter Kavanaugh. Sir, good afternoon and welcome to Sports Grill.
Good afternoon, my friends. Thanks for having us.
Yes,
absolutely.
1923 and now not even one representative. Why do you think this is happening? Are the government deaf?
Well, I don't know if it is that the government is deaf. You know, it's just that I think over the years, the deaf population, for them to come together and to have a national identity, it has taken a little bit of time for us to get there. You understand? Groups need to organize, just like how you have different disabled groups, not just deaf but in other areas. Sometimes you do have to have perhaps a steering committee or something that will come together and pull all the various stakeholders together. And hence the formation of Deaf Sports Jamaica in 2010, which sprung out of an idea that that we had started exploring from as far back as 2008. Since that time, we have been able to actually host 3 national sports days for the deaf. Starting, we had sponsors like Juicy Parties on board. We did get some support from the government for the last 3 that we have had, for the sports days that we have had. But in terms of the actual going to the Deaflympics, which is a 4-year cycle, this is a year for it. From last year, our state minister did come to our national sports day, and she indicated that the government was going to be supporting our efforts to get to the Deaflympics, which will be held in Bulgaria this year. But unfortunately, at this point, we're almost out of time, and we have not seen the level of support that we do need for our athletes who have made the qualifying standard.
That's why you're on this program. We support stuff like these. I mean, but which era are you qualified in now? I mean, and you love to compete in a particular area.
Well, we like the Usain Bolt era, but we did have someone, I think, who had qualified for the shot put. And what we're trying to do is to roll out the various sports that are indigenous to Jamaica in a way, if you know what I mean. So we have the track and the field events. We do have table tennis also in the mix. We have our netball. We have our soccer. So these are all Jamaican sports that our kids from very young will play automatically.
You had a match yesterday to Jamaica House, we understand. Last week you went to Jamaica House. Of course, Mr. Delano Franklin spoke to you on behalf of the Prime Minister. Did you get any sense of urgency on his part or from the government that they will be helping you anytime soon?
Well, speaking to Delano, somebody I've known a long time, I brought him up to speed as to where we were, the urgency of our situation. The PM, unfortunately, was off for a couple of days, but he gave us every assurance that he would be bringing our request to our attention, given the very short timeline. I think the State Minister, I think perhaps her office might have made some contact with another of our representatives, but what we're hearing perhaps from that side, I think the Prime Minister, the Minister of Sports, she has to take charge of this one. I think hence our appeal it would be a shame because this year Jamaica is supposed to be formally admitted to that illustrious body. We're supposed to be inducted between the 23rd and 25th in Bulgaria.
So one way, so you are you saying that somebody will be represented there, but not necessarily athletes?
No. I'm saying that we are down to be. We need to have someone there to be represented for our country. Cannot be embarrassed.
That's true.
And we do have right now 5 athletes who have made the Olympic
qualifying standard.
And to me, it's a shame because the figure it might.
How much money is that you're talking about?
So we're talking about maybe about $7 to $8 million to send our delegation. That can't compare to what we spend when we're sending our regular.
Clearly, you're talking about Jamaican dollars here. But how many athletes, how many officials you're talking about? What's the total delegation?
Well, in terms of our composition, I'm thinking that wouldn't be sending more than perhaps about 10 persons.
10 persons.
Because that meaning that the president and his deputy would perhaps be going there. We'd send our technical, our coach or technical director would have to go, of course, and the 5 athletes. So,
10 persons, $7 million.
Yes, well, Bulgaria is a
stretch away, yes.
the plane tickets alone going to run you maybe about $200,000. Visas that you have to secure otherwise for London, for the US, for Bulgaria itself. Yeah, but you're talking about a time period from the 23rd to about of July to the 4th of August. So you have to take into consideration accommodation and other items like that. So when you convert it, really,
it looks big here, but when you convert it, not much at all.
It's chicken feed. But let me ask you though, Kevin, why so late? Why so late this cry?
I'm still not relating because the fact of the matter is that, for example, we are on the books of the SDF, for example, and we had to roll out all of our medium and long-term events that will be coming up. And this is on the book from long time. That is why when the minister made a presentation, if you look at even the Observer article that was written on the 29th of November last year, that the state minister indicated that she was well aware that this was coming up. There are certain things that were said from her side that we thought were certain instructions that were given to our group from her side that seemed to indicate that she would have had some form of negotiation, perhaps with some sponsors for us.
But clearly, since you've almost months after that article was made public, you've had to stage a march to Jamaica House, which suggested that they never really hear what you had to say.
Yeah, well, sometimes, like I say, I'm after a long time, the deaf are probably seen sometimes are not really heard because their voice, and that's why it's important, like this program here that you have. Because what we need for Jamaica to each Jamaica to look with themselves, because if you have a section of the population, perhaps 10 to maybe 15% of our population has some form of hearing impediment, those are the figures that I've seen up to recent times.
Yes.
And if that is so, and looking at the fact that we sign all these wonderful international conventions, and we have sent groups to the Special Olympics, which is another level of disability, to the regular Olympics, but why not the deaf? 90 odd years, it's a long time, brother.
Are you attached to the JOA in at all, Jamaica Olympic Association?
We are recognized by them. And it's the 3 Olympic bodies that make up the World Olympic Association. The Deaf Olympics, the Special Olympics, and the regular Olympics. Those are the 3 groups, and those there's funds. I know for a fact there are funds that are channeled through each Olympic association that should assist in development and perhaps sending representatives to various events.
Have you put your case to the JOA?
We have done all of that, my brother. We have done all of that. That is why we are at the point.
So are you saying that in that?
We have approached many sponsors, but for some strange reason,
falling on deaf ears.
Exactly. Why? I tell you, you're good with the words. You're good with the words. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but it's certainly we're doing our best here, and we hope that everything will work out for you, sir. So what next?
Well, what I'm supposed to hear some words. I'm hoping between now and tomorrow from the Prime Minister advisor as to whether or not the PM will grant us the meeting that we're seeking, or in lieu of that, give some definite instructions as to securing the resources so that our team can start getting ready so that we can go by the 23rd.
Yeah, meeting with the Prime Minister becomes secondary if you get the $7 million. Doesn't matter how. But in terms of preparation, how often do you train?
They have been training almost on a daily basis, because they have access to training facilities at UTEC. They have been very, very kind to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so on a daily basis, some of the athletes have traveled from very far. Some of them come from, I'm talking here from Mandeville, which is where I am based, basically. But we have a number of athletes from this side who travel almost on a daily basis in the evenings or in the afternoons, and they go into Kingston and they do their training, and then they have to return.
Finally, how many athletes do you have in preparation now?
Well, currently I'd say that we do have in excess of a dozen athletes. We know that 5 actually have the qualifying standards, and so if it is that we're going to send anybody, those five athletes will be the ones that we'll be sending officially, along with the president and the coach. So that is the request that we're making. We're appealing to Jamaica for assistance. It's a historic moment for Jamaica. We can make this. Then the athletes would finally be able to carry the Jamaican flag at this event.
So, all right,
happened before, All
right, so there you have it. Mr. Peter Kavanaugh, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for being with us here on the program, and of course, we look forward to talking to you if there are any other interesting developments.